Hello, everybody, and welcome to my Ascension Messages. My name is Bobby Richardson, and I will be your guide for today. Today is Tuesday, so today we will be doing some channeling. Hey there, Cosmic Creations. Good to see you in the chat bar already. Wow. So I've got a couple of things that I've written down, and we will discuss them, and then we will go into the title of this sorry. I was distracted. The mind, the pineal gland, and other possibilities. Sorry, I was just trying to get up my what I'd written down. Okay, so on the 2nd of February, I wrote, we are taught to believe that energy comes at a high cost with pollution and rising bills. But that is just a veil of limitation, closing your eyes to the infinite energy running through your body and surrounding you. And most people don't think of it like that. The reason why they don't think about it like that is because they've been programmed not to think about it like that. They've been programmed to think of it as something that's outside of them, that has to be tangibly collected and then sold or bought or whatever, instead of, wow, I have all this energy running through my body. I have all this energy that's outside of me. I have all this. And now how do we connect that? But we don't think about connecting that because we've been programmed to think that someone else has to harness the energy and then give it to us as a bill. And then we're in survival mode again. So this, coupled with the ignition of the pineal gland through a balanced mind, and I'm going to speak more on that later on, creates even more wisdom gifted to you of amazing abilities. Your mind and body has been hiding behind this limited belief that energy has a price to pay. This program was repeatedly spread by those who brought in the monetary system. Through the ages, humanity has been killed for it, like the witches and the wizards who knew about such wisdom. And as the rise of the masculine ruled, it give humanity a chance to experience how far they could take the masculine side. There's nothing wrong with that. And how deep they delved into the practical material world, away from the so they ended up. So I'm just going to read this. I read this and then speak it to you. It's easier. So yeah, obviously, like the last eons, we've had to go through this whole game where the practical world was being explored, the material world, the outside world, the doing world outside of us. What's outside of us? What can we do to physically grab things and create things and all of that sort of stuff? Meanwhile, there was those that held on to the wisdom of this inner connection, this inner knowing of power within us, the energy that ran within us, and then to be able to connect to it just through the mind and the understanding of how that actually works, to be able to communicate with those outside of us. This, because we have been just like literally shut down, locked down from that side of us through the persecution of the witches and the wizards and the people that held the magic. You can call them whatever you like, really. It's just people that held on to the wisdom, that they knew that they were connected far, far more than what the masculine could understand. And that's literally because humanity's inside their brain, they literally had to have their right hemisphere closed off enough for us to explore the masculine. Why? Because the right hemisphere connection to source energy, which is all that powerful, to be able to explore the masculine, it couldn't, because it would always have this feed of information coming through to us individually to be able to explore all of those gifts. And we couldn't do the masculine side unless we literally had to put that into a lockdown of some kind. So that lockdown happened, and that's why on the other side of this coin, as we've just gone through into the vortex of this Taurus energy belt that we're coming back to self-love, we've had to go into lockdown. Why? Because we've needed to come back home to ourselves. See how these words match, which has actually happened in the last few years. We've had to come back to home to ourselves to be able to find out who we are without the outside world. And so this is what's been happening with humanity over the last few years. We have come so far, but the massive imbalance with the only way forward would be to consume one's reality. If we kept on going into that masculine side of ourselves and we kept on, and it was all unbalanced, we're all just looking outside of us and no feelings are taken into account or anything like that, the imbalance will mean that we would start to consume ourselves, consume our reality. Why? Because the soul needs to feel respected. The soul needs to feel like it's got purpose, like the soul is who you are. And if you're constantly cutting that off, it feels really and that's why there's a lot of people that have, you know, come and then gone, I can't handle this world, and then, you know, did their thing, whatever they needed to do to leave this world so that they could return back to more of their soul's connection, because they couldn't find it in this looking outside of ourselves reality. And every time they went inward, they would be persecuted, they would be shunned, they would be told they were too emotional, they would be told, you know, you shouldn't go that far because look, you look like you're weak, and all of that sort of thing. And this is the program that was pulled over humanity's eyes, though. Yeah. But there's so much now that we are going into this vortex and into understanding that we are the ones that we need to save ourselves. And this isn't just the people saving the people or anything like that. This is us literally within ourselves, our own core identity of who we know we are. What self-talk have you been saying to yourself? What have you started to believe from the outside world that actually is making you sound terrible to yourself? Like every time you say something really negative in a negative way to yourself, I shouldn't have done that, I'm a dumbass, whatever it is that you're saying to yourself, think about if somebody else actually said that to you. And then you would be in the defensive. So why aren't you saying to yourself, why would I say that to myself? I wouldn't take it from anyone else. So why would I say that to myself? This is one of the parts of the ways that we're going to start to find balance, because we're no longer listening to those parental figures, teachers, that sort of thing, bullies at school that made us feel small because they were feeling small and they didn't know how to handle your light. They didn't know how to handle your feelings. They didn't know how to handle your emotions. Why? Because they couldn't handle their emotions. They couldn't handle their feelings. And they couldn't understand that if you actually go into the depths of your emotions and your feelings, then you end up just, you know, having an absolutely rotten day where you're bawling your eyes out. You're literally, if you go into it and you feel it, you can find, that's where I went wrong. That's why this has happened, because I've been speaking to myself that way. I've been feeling that myself that way. And now it's just somebody's come outside of me and kind of slapped me in the face and said, see, you are that. And you have agreed with it because you've been talking to yourself, self-sabotagingly to yourself. Yeah. Okay, as you clear and raise your energy more into love, you will start to match Prime Creator's energy more and more, which means you will be able to pick up more of the sun's wisdom. And the sun is a portal straight through to Prime Creator. That's what I was taught by the Pleiadians anyway. I have brought this story out before. I'll bring it up very quickly. So I did ask the Pleiadians long time ago before I was channeling. It was just a whimsical one-off kind of event that I just went, right, tell me this then. And I asked them, you know, what is our reality? What is it? And so they showed me source energy, just all light, just all love. And they showed me in a form of just a light being. And then the light being lied down on the ground. And then he threw a blanket over his leg. And then that was pure black. And then he pinpricked the blanket with all these holes. And then they said to me, this is the only way we can explain it to you from your limited concept of reality, as in the practical material way, because this is a lot more to it. There's a lot more feeling, but you're not into the feeling side yet. So we have to show it to you this way. And then in this blanket was all these pinpricks. And then they said, when you look up at the stars at nighttime, that those pinpricks are are the stars. And then I went, so whenever source energy wanted to shift in an energy in the solar system, that star was, that was the planets were revolving around, it would shift it through the star that was, and so the energy would change up into a different frequency, and that frequency would be sent, and then we would feel it on our planet, and it would evolve us into a different kind of a scenario. So if there was a lockdown, then the energy would be pulled back, and so the energy would then the people on that planet would feel that lack of within themselves. And this is how they taught me, but there's a lot more to it. This is just and I'm still to learn a lot more about it. They keep telling me there's a lot more to it, but I'm still to learn a lot more about this. This is the story that they showed me. So now that we've gone through this vortex and going closer to source energy, the energy that's shifting is coming through, that's coming through our sun and the central galaxy, by the way, is changing up everything, because we're all coming in back into source energy. When we all come back into source energy, everything vibrates into that love frequency. So we've had to, especially on Earth, humanity in their lockdown consciousness is going on a massive journey from absolute forgetfulness to absolute knowingness and absolute wisdom. So this is pretty cool what's happening. So I'll just read that, but again, you will start to match Prime Creator's energy more and more, which means you'll be able to pick up more of the sun's wisdom that is held in higher frequencies. So this is as you clear and raise your energy more into love. This is what will happen. So it's all of a sudden you come in resonance because of the love that's coming from the sun. You come in the same resonance as the love from your body to the sun. So then you can pick up more information, more wisdom, more knowing, more understanding, igniting your DNA, igniting the particles and the cells within your body. This then opens your reality and mind to more abilities, like the 3 T's. Instead of the 3 R's, we've got telepathy, telekinesis, and teleportation. This will open up you to remembering. So it's like, or and all these past lives, because the past lives are held by the soul's memory through our imagination. That's how we connect to it. And so that starts to come forward, and then we're like, well, why can't we have a crack at that? Why can't we try that? And we have this like passionate pull towards, some of us might have a passionate pull towards being telepathic or moving things with our mind, or or leaving the body and exploring other worlds, astral traveling, and so forth. And there's also, they're saying to me, there's also many, many, many other gifts that are coming our way as well. That's still to come, but it all comes from balance to begin with within oneself, to be able to connect to these new energies that are coming from the sun, and the sun is close to source energy and so forth. So yeah, heaps that's coming through at the moment. So what else have we got here? I'm going to go into the mind and the pineal gland and other realities as well now. So we'll see what comes through with that. But I do know how they taught me. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because there was this lovely lady in the chat bar that sent me a message and said, could you please help me with my mind? I can't get it into balance. And I said, I have done other videos on this, so just bear with me for a bit, but there's going to become more messages coming through with it. Bear with me a bit if you've actually seen these videos and know what I'm going to say. But for those that don't know, the mind is, has 2 hemispheres, literally 2 personalities. And how they taught me is they actually led me to digging up a gold bracelet at a beach in Acrturians. And that was just through their channeling messages coming through, telling me, dig here, do this. And I'm like, what am I doing? What am I following? And I actually dug up the skull bracelet. So that they started to teach me, because I didn't have anyone to teach me. So they, from my spiritual team, started to teach me. how to handle my mind. And first up, they started to, because they were picking up that I was talking extremely negatively to myself, and they wanted me to shift that up. So they told me a couple of things that we could do. First up, they said, before you go to sleep, just relax your jaw, because usually your mind gets really busy before you go to bed. And that tends to happen with quite a few people who are stuck in their heads because they don't know how to relax. And they said, I'm a Virgo, so I'm like, okay, but if I relax, I'm going to start dribbling. And they're like, dribble away. Okay, I'll dribble on my sheets. So yeah, for a wee while, until I learned to control my body while being relaxed. I dribbled all over my pillows. Anyway, but that gave me this sense of kind of just peace within my body. Like it was literally my jaw was just locked jawed when I went to sleep. And then they said to me, imagine a place, you create it. You create wherever you want to go. And just imagine this beautiful place that's going to feel serene for you. So I imagined a stream running down the side of a hill, a slight hill, but flat land and grass. And the grass was short, and then I could lie on the grass, but then I could grow the grass long if I wanted to feel protected. And then I just lied in this place. And every single night they said, go to your happy place, go to your happy place. So I just used that one happy place for quite a while, for like 6 months to a year. By the way, things started changing in my reality since this all started to happen, and I started to shift my ability within my mind to take hold, to control my mind. All of a sudden, I started having a free kind of space within myself to be able to create more, and I started creating a lot. I didn't mind being on my own anymore, because I was actually looking forward to getting being on my own, because my mind wasn't clouding me with negative judgments anymore. And then as we progress along, sometimes I go back, sometimes I go forward, and sometimes I know where I'm going. Sometimes I take massive leaps, and then I'd feel vulnerable, and then I get all stuck in my head again and all that. And they said another way to alleviate the head, because things were crashing down around me. My marriage was crashing down around me. Things were not working out because I was starting to up level into a higher frequency, and my partner could not go with me. So we ended up splitting up. So there's all of the courts and the horribleness that goes with that sort of stuff. And they said to me, okay, through the day, whenever you have something in your head that is negative, let's just put a default image in there. So they made it extremely simple for me. It doesn't have to be so complicated. So I did choose a fluffy duck, and then my logical brain, every time I caught myself thinking something negative, my logical brain would go and run over that fluffy duck, and I'd feel guilty. And so in the end, I had to change it up to a sunflower. It wasn't so bad if a sunflower got run over, but yeah. So you make sure you're not emotionally attached to whatever you choose. Choose a crystal, choose a crystal or something like that. Sunflower was really good. Because sunflower had the actual pattern of the Fibonacci sequence, I think it was, inside it. And so it was this beautiful pattern that I knew was really important. And so you could focus in on that pattern, focus in on the beautiful golden leaves, the yellow leaves, petals, coming off the actual seeds, and focus how it changes itself and always follows the sun and that sort of thing. And what happens is then you're taking your attention away from the negative Nelly, the negative self-talk behavior that you were doing. Or even if something was approaching me, like, oh my God, I've got my court, got to go do this, got to go see my ex, all those horrible anxiety. And then I'll be like, okay, back to the sunflower. And in that moment, because I was going back to the sunflower, that all sort of left me, because I wasn't in that nervous state anymore. So then I started to realize what it was doing is helping me catch my mind, and control. And then it was like, they said it's like exercising a muscle in a gym. You've got to keep going, but it does get easier. But if you left it for a long time, you're probably going to have to work back out again. But then you have the memory of how to do it. So it's very similar to a muscle being exercised in the gym. Same with your mind. And then what happens is eventually those neuron paths start to fall away, and you're not so much in anxiousness about it. And with that, because you're not focusing on it anymore, the actual story and your outside reality starts to calm down as well. And things happen where things will fall away. But also they said to me, another way, once you get used to the sunflower, start to bring in your imagination. Use your imagination at its will to, like, say for instance, okay, I've done the sunflower, I still keep coming up with this. Oh my God, this person's going to do this. I know they're going to do this. It's going to be horrible, that sort of thing. They said, use your imagination for your own benefit, not for what, someone's programmed for you to believe is going to become your reality, or somebody outside of you that you think is more powerful. No, use your imagination to say to yourself, what would be my best scenario? Okay, my best scenario would be that my ex would actually have, his attention diverted by something else. And you are free then to not. And so I started imagining this sort of scenario. And then it was really interesting because at the time, I'll tell you a quick story. I actually had a car that I took from, we both had cars, and I took the big car because I had to put all the kids and go, I didn't know where I was going. I grabbed all the camping gear and all that sort of stuff. It was really horrible. I didn't know what I was going to do because I had no money and all that, because he cut the credit cards and blah, blah, blah. So grabbed the kids and then we went camping. And then everything started to go wrong with my car over the next year or so. And I was like, why is this happening? And I was told that there was negative energy coming towards me from my ex for taking the car. So what I did was I just put I imagined a mirror all the way around me, and I said, whatever's mine, and like the mirror was inside and outside, whatever's mine is going to be mine. So if it's my negative mindset in that, at least it comes back to me and I can go, okay, well, that's mine. I've got to deal with this issue. But if it's outside of me and it's coming from somebody else, then they're going to have that mirror reflected right back at them. And it was so interesting because as soon as I had done that, my daughters come back from their dads and said that he had a slight accident in his car. So he wasn't damaged or hurt or anything like that. But this is karma, how we can wield with our imagination, understanding that our imagination can actually protect us. It can conjure up a new story for the focus or the energy to come off you, so that you're not going into victim mode. Because what happens when you go into victim mode is those people that are perpetrators outside of you just keep coming back. But when you step out of being a victim and you start taking your power back, then they don't feel that same energy coming at them, and so they start to disappear. So that's just a couple of handy hints to help you with your mind. So this is going to bring us back into balance. So we're telling our logical mind, shifting our logical mind, putting it in its place, its rightful place. It's not supposed to create something new. It doesn't know how to. It can only grab from the past and project into the future. Now, when we get this balance anyway that's happening, and we start to feel like we've got more space to be creative and all of that sort of stuff, then we can start to focus more of our intention on our intuition, on our imagination, serving ourselves, not serving something else outside of us. And we can start to bring ourselves back more into balance of, okay, well, I can trust my logic, but I can trust my intuition as well. And what's needed in this moment. Say, for instance, you've lost something. Well, you've looked everywhere, so that's your logic gone down. You can't, well, how about sitting still and just going, I'm just going to bring myself into a happy place and trust my intuition is going to take me there. Then all of a sudden you'll feel like, I just feel like knitting, and you'll go over to the knitting balls, and then because you're following your feeling of happiness, and your soul will take you to what you've actually lost if you need it in that time, for sure. And I've done this many times. So this is learning to work with our intuition as well as our logic. Not to say that logic doesn't have a part to play, but it cannot shift a story. The logic will only be able to repeat something. So that's why in the school systems they taught us to learn by copy and pasting. So we're only copy and pasting somebody else's reality, and then we're just following their reality, and we're told that we can never make or create or carve our own paths, right? So yeah, so we're coming back into learning, well, okay, I don't need to trust everyone outside of me. Maybe their story was good for them in 1920, 1940, 1960, 1970. Maybe their good story was good for them yesterday, but it's not good for me now. And so I've decided, no, this is not where I need to go. I'm trusting my own self and following my intuition, my body, what I feel is going to bring me happiness. And all of those, everyone else, when you start to resonate in a more happier frequency and more love frequency, starts to magnetize towards you anyway. But you only get those people that are magnetizing towards you that are coming from love or seeking love themselves. So they see you as a love bomb, right? Instead of the other story that I just told you about. Okay, so there's a lot of information coming through here. So then we go from this balanced mind, right? And then they taught me about the pineal gland. And they said that to get to the pineal gland, which has been really literally asleep within many of us, to awaken it was to rattle these crystals free. So they took me to a science place, and it's on the internet, and it was showing a picture of a pineal gland literally calcified. Yeah, so it had like all of its crystals were just gone into one big blob of nothing. But the pineal gland, and that was from like a young child, and they found that many adults as they grew older had calcified pineal glands. So the first thing is to shake this up. And so they brought me to this thing where you put your tongue on the roof of your mouth like that, and then you hum, focusing on your pineal gland. And they also told me that kiwi fruit could help because it had the serotonin and the melatonin within it. They showed me that in a dream. And also it looks like an eye, looks like the pineal gland. So the pineal gland is actually an eye. It has it is actually an eye. I have to look that up again because I did look it up all those years and years and years ago. Has specific things in it that an eye actually has. But it's an all-seeing eye from within oneself, and it's where the soul is connected to us. Like the soul literally has that place where it can leave and come in, and it resides in the central lower part of the two hemispheres. And there's pituitary gland as well, which it will help with balancing as well. But there's something to do with the two hemispheres of the brain being able to be in balance. In other words, shush both of them. We don't need to hear from any of them to allow ourselves to open up the pineal gland. And the pineal gland has these little crystals, micro crystals in it. And when you come from a certain frequency that you want to align, say with another being or something like that, that's in a higher frequency, then the humming that you do or chanting or resonance that you find yourself in just in a love vibration, just by feeling that, can actually cause these tiny little crystals to move into what they call cymatics. So a cymatic, CYMATICE pattern can be seen when they throw like salt and that on a speaker or something. It vibrates a certain vibration through it, and then all the salt will ching into these beautiful patterns. Same thing happens when we meditate. That's why the Tibetans ended up creating these beautiful mandala patterns on in the sand and that sort of stuff. And they taught me that that they also, my youngest daughter, sorry, gave me a clue at the age of 3 and 4 that she was talking about a place. This is the same time as they were teaching me all of this, that she said that she goes to. It's a place called Anon. It's it's where everything is everything, but we live in our minds now, mummy, but we also live in Anon as well. You can look it up, but you have to thank me for this one. This is exactly what she said. Anyway, so I ended up looking it up. And when I looked it up, I ended up finding this kind of science thing on Anon. And it was a particle that was between fermion and boson. So it could flip from one to the other. It was in a two-dimensional space of some kind. And then I'm not a scientist, but what I gathered from this was with the resonance of the particles that we're chanting, and we're in this higher frequency, when we flip into that, really flip into it, when we're no longer listening to any sides of the story anymore, but we're allowing the soul to just be present, but we're saying that we want to come and create a new reality where we're connecting to different higher frequencies and getting more wisdom coming through or something like that, then those little crystals within the pineal gland will ching into the different patterns. And then with the release of DMT, which we release DMT within our pineal glands through a balance night and day, melatonin and serotonin, both of those chemicals will help yield into DMT, which means the night and the dark, or the logical and the masculine and the feminine, all of that has to come into balance. And then all of a sudden we are within a space where we can gather whatever wisdom we want. But they also said to me, some of the crop circles and stuff like that have been created by other interdimensional and extraterrestrial beings will have been formed for us to remind ourselves exactly where the pineal gland goes, for us to be able to communicate with those fractions. And with the release of DMT, an anion experience happens with the crystals that goes from material into light. And then we are free to explore way more. So there was all this information that poured through me when I asked about our potential. This all happened because I talked to an elder telepathically, and she held my hand, talked to me telepathically. And because of that, I ended up asking, well, what's humanity's potential? Because if she can do that and we can't, yet we've all got the same brain, so what the heck's is going on here? And they were showing me that we have been completely thrown off kilter, out of balance, just using our logical brain to create this reality, and that's only half of who we are. And it was kept in that smallness so that there could be certain deities or that were trying to overpower everybody, keep us in that smallness. So there's just so much more that we can explore as we're going through this. And we can use this information too when we want to start connecting back with them. Again, interesting that this has come up now, because I didn't even associate it within my logical brain as to the gathering that I'm creating. And we're doing that this weekend. And I did a video on how to connect. And now I'm getting all this information from my past that they told me coming back up again to be able to help us connect as well. So yeah, it's incredible. It's the only thing I'm finding frustrating a little bit is that I really wish that the people that were in my chat bar could come with me as well. Because you guys have been my buddies for the last couple of years since I've been going live doing these channelings, most of you, maybe the last year. And I'm like, but in any case, that's the way it goes, right? I have to form my circle in my local area and see what happens out of that. Yeah. Wow, I can't believe I got through all of that in 34 minutes. That was a lot of information in 34 minutes, right? Because I know it all, because they've already taught me, years gone by. So just thinking what else I could do. Okay, maybe we can just pull a couple of cards for a quick general reading. I love tapping into the cards for a general reading and see what comes up for this, because this is an ascension process of this ascension messages for now, right? We've got a few that are falling on the floor. I'm just going to pop, there's too many of them, so I'm just going to start that again. No, let's take those ones. Okay. I don't know what they are yet because they're face down. Yeah. Hey, Margaret. Hey, Cheryl. Hey, Debbie. Hey, Dave. Good to see you guys. Yeah, it's always good to tap because the cards do tell stories as well. And at least it's something that you can actually see what's happening as well. Okay, so we had one that was put over the side, and it was the Eight of Swords. So the energy at the moment might be that you feel really bound. You feel a little vulnerable. You feel like, what the frick is happening? This can also happen because if you've up-leveled just recently into a higher frequency, there is a moment always that we need to get used to this, like a feeling of a wobbleness, a feeling of needing to get used to being in the strength of who we newly found strength of ourselves. So, yeah, so we might just feel, okay, I need to get used to this. Yeah, for some reason, that's what that's telling me anyway with that card. But we do have the Ace of Wands. So look at this. See, we are moving into this whole new, elevating our reality, a chance to bring in the action, like do what you need to do. Form these groups, go meet people, go start your business that you really wanted to start, that sort of thing as well. But it's a very new story that's coming in, and this is going to help the world. So this isn't just something now that's more an individual thing. We are learning that our individual up-leveling, our individual clearing is actually helping more than just ourselves. It is a collective that's coming together. It's the end of something big or major, and beginning of another major event. Sierra is chasing his wrong card. So he's chasing his tail and he's eating his tail. But and it's like we're at this point here. Okay, actually, we're at this point here where we're actually going from one thing to another. And then the Devil card in reverse. So things that you might have thought were holding you bound, what are they called? Things that you keep on doing. God, my words have gone from me. Sorry, guys. Overindulging, all of that sort of thing. There are parts of that you can bring back in, knowing that you've now got control more over your mind, and use them to your advantage, but not to the point where they take you away from everything, but just to use to your advantage if you need time out or you need to relax, but not that it's taking over your whole life anymore. You're not bound to it. You can say no at any given moment. That sort of thing is coming up. So even if you had, addictions in the past, and then you said to yourself, well, okay, I can't touch. It's not that. I'm not saying to anyone that if they had like an alcoholic addiction or anything to go back and drink or anything like that. But there could be a moment where I can actually be around people that can drink, and I can easily say no to it, that sort of thing. And you can still go out and party. You can still go out and have as much fun as you want. Or it could be that that you can say no once you start, maybe not that, but something else, like overindulging and eating. We all have to eat, right? So, or even underindulging and eating and getting some sort of chemical release that makes you feel powerful from not eating. That can actually happen too. Or being in like a constant work zone, and feeling like that makes you feel empowered. And now we're pulling back and giving ourselves rest, but we're saying, well, we still have to work. We can still do that, but we can actually say no to it now. This card to me is coming up as a feeling of being more in control of oneself, and realizing that you can release yourself of that control. So that could be coming up for people this week, realizing that they actually have more control over what their decisions are and that sort of thing. Yeah. So we're starting something new. We're vulnerable. We're feeling a little wobbly. Big shifts have happened, but we haven't actually seen it come into fruition quite just yet. It could be that you have, but it could be that you're still waiting for that next aha moment to what to do next through this new energy field that we're coming into. See, 10 of Swords, but in reverse. We are standing up now, guys. The people are starting to stand up. Oh my God, they're just showing me as the people stand up. You know, those that have been in charge of us all this time, they are going to feel so vulnerable. They're going to have to face a lot. Many of these don't have the ability to be compassionate. They have been born with a small amygdala or something like that, and so they don't have the ability to be compassionate. And so just give them a leeway of, well, you don't look for somebody to apologize to you. See it as the lesson that was needed for you, and then move into what you need for you. That whatever that, because they don't hold compassion, they don't feel into the love so much either. So they have a very limited consciousness in their state, on their body and who they are. So just let them go and let them, they're all the cards fall wherever they may. I mean, we only wish everyone to come back into love anyway, because that's where everyone started from. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you are. It's all starts from that love frequency. These people just lost themselves so much that they've blocked their compassion. Maybe they're going to learn how to feel compassion for the first time in their life, and it's going to be extremely, can you imagine feeling compassion for the first time? It would feel extremely overwhelming for somebody that's been in lockdown of their own compassion for that long. So yeah, just let go of the stories of what's going to happen to them, though. They should do. No, come back to self. What's going to happen to you? What's going to make your life better? What's going to make you feel a lot like your world is expanding? Your world expanding into more and more and more love is going to push them more into a smaller corner to be able to have to look at themselves anyway in the end. So interesting, though, that they're bringing that up now. A literal crumbling. It's going to take time, but there will be crumbling. You'll see the light coming out, where people have to be put in a place to. They'll be put in a place where they have to say why they did things, or what, something like that. It's going to happen as well for those that are in higher places, but there with no compassion and no meaning for life, and just wanting to rule and control and belittle. They will have to. It's funny. It's like they're telling me they'll be put in their place, but it probably won't put much dent in them as much as realizing that they cannot get away with it anymore, and that they don't have the control they thought they had over, because other people that are starting to come up into this love frequency are going to expand their realities, create new devices that'll go in between all the so-called laws. Cannot overrule everything. It's impossible, because it's just a logical thing that's trying to control something else. The freedom that humanity is wanting to explore goes way beyond that, and it goes from empowering oneself from the inside out, that sort of thing. Yeah. So yes. If anyone, there's only a few people in my chat bar this morning. That's interesting. Yeah, funnily enough, I got quite a few in my last video that I pulled out. If there's anyone in the chat bar that wants a free reading, I might as well. We've got some time, right? So if you guys, you few friends over there, want a free reading at the end, and if anyone else is still watching this, these messages could be for you as well, because I find that collective messages come out as well. But if not, and you decide to say goodbye here, that's absolutely fine too. Yeah. Morning, Aaron. So I was just saying, Aaron, to the others in the chat bar, if they want a free reading, then I will pull a card for them. Oh, thanks. Hey, Deirdre, and just say yes so that I know that you've definitely given your permission, because I don't like to do readings with people that haven't given me their permission. So Deirdre. Some new beginning coming for you. Ooh, nice. It feels nice. I don't think you're quite ready for what's. It's not that you're going to not be ready for what's coming, but it feels like to me you might be so pleasantly surprised. Oh my gosh, look at this. Here's you used to being in the 5 pentacle mode, where you're feeling like you're used to being the one that's the outsider, sitting outside in the cold and feeling sorry, feeling a little bit like a victim. And honestly, probably what you've gone through, fair enough. But it's come in reverse. So it's like you're used to this, but this is what's coming. So the 9 of Cups is it's like wishes are going to be bestowed on you. So what you've been wishing for is going to start to come in. And it was your soul's alignment to this. The energies have shifted up. You're no longer this anymore. You're no longer sitting outside looking at the people in the window that has the pentacles. You're the one that's emotionally feeling fulfilled here. This is a wish coming true, and you're emotionally feeling fulfilled. Kind of like when you were a little kid and you really wished this would happen or that would happen. It's going to start happening for you now. So that's nice. I felt that. It's good too to get that double confirmation, right? That I channel the energy through it first, and then the cards actually go with what I channeled. So double confirmation there, Deirdre. Woohoo for you. That's all right. You're welcome. Just hang in there. Just keep on going back into self-love, what you feel for yourself, what's going to make you feel good. Keep coming back to you. Even when things start to look like they're going to score, keep coming back to you. I know it's been difficult in some case, sometimes, but okay. Michelle, there's a couple of cards that wanted to come out for you. Okay, Michelle, you got the Hermit, and the Hermit card is the going within oneself to find the light within. And sometimes we need to just be alone to do that. Like literally go find yourself in your bedroom and just close the door and I just need to be alone. But this is what you're coming into. It came in reverse, but even within reverse, this is an opportunity that you're moving towards, and you will find it's a hand of God giving you a pentacle, giving you something tangible. So you're looking for this. It's almost like you're looking for this, and they're asking for you to go within yourself to find it first. And then this will start to show up outside yourself. The opportunities will start to come. But at the moment, they need you to go within to find the light. Like he's holding that lantern. He's like, where's my power? Who am I really? And if you really do feel into that and you find that if I'm source energy and source energy has created all this, why can't I create a bit of abundance in my life, right? Why can't I? And this is literally saying, yes, if this card would not have popped out unless it's an absolute yes, you can. But they're asking you to go inside to find that value. There's a value within yourself to show up first, because otherwise, if you don't find it within yourself and it shows up, you'll miss it, or you'll miss the opportunity, or it will just, because you're not in alignment with the same frequency of that value that wants to come in for you. Okay, so who else have we got here that wants a reading? Michelle's on. Vanda. Hey, Vanda. Okay, Vanda. Vanda. Okay, so I feel like for some reason my side started to hurt a little bit there, like someone's stabbing you in the side here. Like there might be a friend around you that you're like still got to put in their place, or someone or a family member to put in their place, because the chalice of 3 also popped out at the same time as I felt that in the reverse. I will pull one more card out for you, because to get yourself out of this is they're actually teaching you assertiveness. There's an assertive value to this, teaching you to stand up for yourself and who you are and how you want to look to those that are around you. It's almost like your vulnerability of who you truly are and the heartfelt space that you are is seemingly being told that it's weak by others. And so constantly people are poking you and annoying you, but they're saying to me, if you actually stood in that heart value through empowerment within yourself, when you go, you could help so many more people. They're showing me a specific story in my head that happened to me when I was in New Zealand, and my older sister was having some trouble, and my parents were getting frustrated with her children at that moment. And then I don't want to say too much, but what happened was I went into myself to be able to help, because I could have gone, my logical brain's going, go up and do this and do that and do this. And then I'm like, no, I need to go into myself. My mum was washing the dishes and pretending like nothing was happening. My father was getting frustrated, and he just kind of goes away and comes back and goes away and comes back kind of personality. And I just stood in the middle and went, what do I do? I want to help mend this. So I had all this, they told me, the first thing they told me to do is to go up to my mum and say, Mum, this is actually happening. And she needed to come into the moment to realize that, because she'd been hiding away from all those moments. So there was a lesson in it for her. And then I went to my sister, and then I went to my dad, and so forth. And then I come from compassion. I didn't get upset or anything. So there might be something in it for you to learn about being assertive for yourself through whatever's going to happen next. Yeah. Okay. So I think that's about all for today. And I think I will love you and leave you there, guys. Yeah. And I'll probably do another live on Thursday and see what happens there. I might channel more through the CYANIANS and stuff like that. I'm feeling like there's some messages that want to come through. A lot of changes are happening at the moment. A lot of differences, a lot of changes through us and our up-leveling. So I might just connect with them on Thursday and do another live. So love you guys. Until then, bye.